2022 has been a pivotal year in the development of the Russia versus Ukraine conflict. The year saw the utter escalation of the conflict as Russia invaded Ukraine and, as such, escalated the conflict into a full-blown war. After claiming countless lives and causing irreparable damage to both countries and their property, the war has raged on with no end in sight. And as it enters its second calendar year, many people around the world are terrified of the consequences, fearing what the new year may bring. Could it be resolved this year? And if so, how? On the battlefield? Or at the bargaining table? Or maybe it drags on until 2024. Join us as we look at some predictions for 2023 concerning the Russia versus Ukraine war. Michael Clark, who is the Associate Director of the Strategic Studies Institute in Exeter, UK, says that winter might have given the world a few months of peace and rest, but spring 2023 could bring even more trouble. According to him, Russia's upcoming spring attack might be one of the most crucial moments of this war. According to him, history has shown that anyone who crosses the enormous Eurasian steppes to attack another country will have to spend at least one winter there. And now, taking history as a playbook, and especially taking corrections from conquerors like Napoleon, Hitler, and Stalin, who, when facing a winter on the steppes, all had to keep their troops moving. It seems Vladimir Putin is hunkering down for the winter in preparation for a new Russian onslaught in the spring, as at the moment it seems his invasion is stalling out on the ground. He stated that while a break would benefit both sides, we should anticipate the Ukrainians to retain the pressure, especially at Donbass, given their limited assets and extreme willpower. This is because at the moment they are on the verge of a major breakthrough in the area of Crimea and Svatov, which would push Russian forces back by 40 miles to the next natural defensive line, which is not far from where their invasion essentially began in February. But it won't be all fight for Kiev, as even though they won't want to give up their huge short-term game on Kherson, which has been retaken, Ukrainian offensive in the southwest may ultimately have to rest for a while. Although it would be a brilliant and tactical move for Ukraine, it may be too difficult to cross the Dnieper River to put pressure on Russia's flimsy rail and road ties into Crimea from the east. But it is clear as day that a sudden fresh attack from Kiev cannot be ruled out. It is widely believed that the effectiveness or failure of Russia's spring attack in 2023 will be a major deciding factor in the conflict, as Putin himself has already revealed that around 50,000 of the freshly mobilized troops are already at the front, with the remaining 250,000 in training for the coming year, coupled with the fact that until the fate of the new Russian soldiers is decided on the battlefield, there is no option except further fighting. The only other possibility we can come to with this evidence is a temporary and unreliable truce, as Russian President Vladimir Putin has made it very clear he has no intention of stopping, and Ukraine has reiterated that it will not give up the struggle and will defend its territory at all costs. According to Andrei Pionkovsky, a scientist and analyst based in Washington, D.C., if Ukraine can successfully reestablish its territorial integrity by spring 2023, it will not only have dispelled Russia's attack, but also have won the war. However, this result is based on two main factors. The first is the unparalleled motivation, commitment, and courage of the Ukrainian armed forces and the Ukrainian people as a whole during this battle, as has been demonstrated over the past few months. But in order to win this war, the motivation must be above and beyond, encompassing all levels from the grassroots level to the top of the government. Under Ukrainian control, the Azov Sea is within easy reach, cutting off the peninsula of Crimea from its sources of food and supplies. After the Ukrainians have made catastrophic inroads on the battlefield, they and the Russians will get down for technical discussions, where the Russians will formally surrender. After this, Ukraine, the UK, and the US, as the winners, will be able to build a new system for international security. Although the last two predictions conclude that the battle will ultimately continue, the next is far more frightening, since it claims the battle may very well continue unabated. See, according to Barbara Zanchetta of the Department of War Studies, King's College London, Vladimir Putin had counted on Ukraine to idly accept whatever its more powerful neighbor did without making any serious protests or demands. However, this terrible error in judgment has resulted in the drawn-out war we see today, which shows no signs of ending. The goal of Russia's attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure this winter is to break the will of a population, which has already been hurt by the summer and fall. However, the perseverance of the Ukrainian people, which to this point has been truly impressive, will continue. As in the end they will hold fast and the conflict will continue for a very long time. The prediction says that the chances of coming to an agreement are low, and that at least one side's core demands must change for peace to be possible. Sadly, neither of these things has happened, and neither is likely to happen anytime soon. The scary prediction then raises the question of how the war would end. The theory predicts that the material and human costs of the conflict might threaten to sap the willpower of Russia's ruling class, and as such, the answer lies within Russian territory. This is the only way previous conflicts have ended in the past, like when the United States attacked Vietnam and the Soviet Union attacked Afghanistan. The prediction does not predict any notable end, victory, or truce in sight, as the war might go on unabated. However, according to another prediction, the war might continue and nothing would change. See, according to a military expert based in Israel named David Gendelman, the question is not how the war will end, but rather what can be accomplished this year. He believes that even though Russia has mobilized 300,000 troops, only approximately half of them are now on the front lines. He also thinks that the Russians have a chance to attack because of the forces that are still there and the ones that are freed up because of the Kherson pullout. His predictions say that Luhansk and Donetsk will stay occupied, but is less likely that Russia will give a big move, like pushing from the south to Pavlograd to surround the Ukrainian forces in the Donbass. The prediction also says that it's more likely than not that the tactics that have been used so far will continue. This means that Ukrainian troops will be slowly worn down on narrow roads, just like in Bakhmut and Avdiivka sectors. And maybe the same will happen in the Svatov-Kremenia area. This war of endurance campaign will be completed by the continued targeting of Ukrainian energy infrastructure and other operations of the Ukrainian rear. In addition to freeing a sizable portion of Ukrainian soldiers, the Russian withdrawal from Kherson also allowed to the liberation of Ukrainian forces. This means their best bet for cutting off the Russian mainland's access to Crimea is to head south to Melitopol or Berdyansk. A move like that would be a huge triumph for the Ukrainians, which is why the Russians are strengthening their defenses around Melitopol. The Svatov option is still open to the Ukrainian military, but if they were to achieve victory, the entire northern flank of the Russian lines would be at risk. With that said, the key issue is how many Ukrainian forces are ready and available for the offensive right now, and how soon the new reserve brigades and the corps that are being built will be ready in terms of manpower, armored vehicles, and heavy weapons. This information can be found in the timetable that General Zaluzny, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine, has on his desk and holds the key to how the tides of the war will flow. And so, there is no defined way the war will go this year. But regardless of the way the tides flow, one thing we can say for sure is that these are trying times in the world's history, as the Russia-Ukraine war has not only cost lives and properties in the two countries, but has fed into instabilities around the world, like the European power crisis. And so as we cross over into a new year, all we can do is hope that the year comes with not only solutions, but a hunger for peace, as the world in general has never needed a win this badly in a long time. But what do you think? Is the war going to go on? Will Russia win? Or will the Ukraine fight to the death? Let us know your predictions in the comments below, and if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more news from around the world. Until next time, bye.